Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Glad that you have joined us here on this beautiful spring weekend morning. Jeff Beals at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate, Omaha's premier commercial real estate firm serving Nebraska and Iowa. And we're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, top-notch residential and commercial roofing contracting services. Well, without any further ado, it is time to introduce my co-host, my good friend and the living real estate legend with an emphasis on living, Trenton Magid.
You are too kind, Jeff. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. What a great week to be alive in our city.
Lots going on. Congratulations to Gene Stothert and R.J. Neary for being on the top two.
Yeah, it's going to be a race, a 5 or 6 week race to see who our next mayor is. And if nothing else, it'll provide a lot of interesting political theater, as elections always do. Well, we want to remind you before we go any further to make sure you are hooked up with your Nebraska Crossing Fast Cash app, because every time you go and purchase anything at one of about 75 different stores at Nebraska Crossing, you will get 15% cash back. All you have to do, go to your Nebraska Crossing app, sign up for Fast Cash, you put in your bank information, i.e. credit card, then always use that credit card when you purchase things there. It goes into your digital wallet. It has to percolate for 30 days. As soon as that happens, that's real money, and you can go and spend that to buy whatever you want at Nebraska Crossing. Well, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Thank you very much. Eagle Mortgage has been around for 30 years, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking for a conventional FHA, VA loan. Yep, they do all of that, refinancing too. And believe it or not, a lot of people are still refinancing. Gosh, I took care of that thing a long time ago, but when I talk to Eagle Mortgage, they say, yeah, every day. We have people that come in and are still refinancing, taking advantage of these amazingly low interest rates that are still out there. And of course, if you want to buy a new house, they'll help you with that too. Hey, speaking of new houses, later in the show, we're going to bring on Jill Anderson from NP Dodge Residential Sales, kind of give us a little snapshot of what's going on in the market. Also later in the show, Patrick Sokol, Nebraska office leader for Turner Construction, will be joining us. But first, let's get into that news, Trenton.
Lots going on.
Oakview Mall has changed hands.
Yes, it has. And it's something that we reported on the first ever weekly Grow Omaha market report. Jeff put together a heck of a newsletter. And I got to tell everyone that was a big story there. Within an hour, John Chapman from Channel 6 called me, and we went on the air a couple days ago. And for the record, I did not sell it. And we report the news here, just like we have done for 17 years. Great story on Channel 6 if you haven't seen it. But that thing sold for $7.5 million, and it included the Longhorn Steakhouse, the Main Center Mall, and also the West Big Box Department Store, which is currently the Rush Market, and it was Yonkers, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the other 3 department stores are separately owned. And so it'll be very interesting to see how it transitions and see what happens with that area.
Yeah, and if you were to scrape a cornfield and build Oakview Mall from scratch, we're talking, $100-some million, $200-some million or something like that.
Absolutely.
So to sell for $7.5 million, interesting, not unexpected, given the situation and the current condition of enclosed malls.
The concern is, my guess is the best thing that could happen to it is that this group that has about 40 malls around the country, you can research them on your own. However, I think the best thing that could happen to it is that they flip it for more money, make a quick buck, and then someone that's a long-term player for the guts of Oakview Mall to come in and find permanent tenants. There's no question there's consternation with the current tenants and how much traffic is going to be in that area. Now, the Ring Road, there's been a lot of activity and a lot of transition on the users around the Ring Road.
Away from retail.
Yeah, away from retail. And the thing is, and as I said on the Channel 6 interview, is that area is solid. You got a lot of traffic. You got a lot of daytime population. You got a lot of nighttime population. And you got major developments going on a mile away at Heartwood Preserve, and it's just an obsolete product type, and that's the enclosed mall. But again, it's an expensive. It's probably about $7 million to tear that thing down. But then you have the other owners that you have to contend with. You have use restrictions, easements, covenants, and restrictions. You got physical plan issues. So I don't see it getting torn down just because the cost of it. It'd be cool if enclosed malls around the country, Jeff, were multi-purpose, like whether it would be a production facility for a major network or something, or a community college that could use the food court. They could put up apartments, hotels. There's so much parking there. They could have lab space. They could have large group spaces. There's so many things to do with it, but it's just such a big thing that most of those places would either go ground up or it's just not needed right now.
My thought is that in 25 years, mark this down, ladies and gentlemen, in 25 years, enclosed regional shopping malls will be the rage. They will be retro. They'll be so popular. Investors will be trying to find ones that survived the great purge and demolition of malls, and those that survive are going to be turned into these amazing places, and they're going to be so popular. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Crossroads is gone for something better. The South Roads still stands. West Roads, it seems like that should be...
Mall of the Bluffs is gone.
Mall of the Bluffs is gone. West Road seems like a mall that should last the duration. And if Oakview stays intact some way, mark my words, 25 years from now, there will be malls that will be the most cool retro place. They'll be so in style. And you'll hear people say things like, why were people so short-sighted to tear those down?
Yeah.
People back in the 2020s were so stupid. You know, we always talk about that. But
It's like
the ones
tearing down
that survive,
statues.
the ones that survive will be incredibly popular.
It might need a new roof then. The other thing that people need to understand is that a lot of these national tenants, you know, they thrive on traffic. Okay, so if an anchor goes out of a mall, the co-tenancy clauses in some of these leases kick in where the rent might cut in half, and that hurts the value of it. It hurts the tax base. It's a spiral effect.
Hey, really fast, Trenton mentioned the newsletter, the Grow Omaha Weekly Market Report. The inaugural issue came out on Thursday.
About 8:30 a.m.
We've got about 6,300 people on the list. Now, this was the very first one that was issued, of course, and we send this thing from a automated system. So that means a lot of them go into spam files. If you signed up for it, and
you didn't,
and many of you did, and you didn't get it, here's a couple things you can do. Number one, check your spam file from Thursday morning. The other thing is enter this email address into your address book, news@growomaha.com. Enter news@growomaha.com into your email address book or put it on your approved senders list. Then you shouldn't have trouble getting it in the beginning. And of course, if you aren't signed up for it, just send an email to news@growomaha.com. So,
and if it is in your spam folder, I've learned this from necessity, is you find it your spam and then you approve that email address. I think that works as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, depending on the system, but all of those are ways to take care of that, and we definitely want all of you to get it because we put quite a bit into it.
Every Thursday you'll get one, ladies and gentlemen.
And we can't fit everything into the show. So, okay, quickly, founders of two successful tech companies have launched a new startup. It's called Workshop, and it has received about $3.5 million in seed money already. This new company, Workshop, sells a software product that facilitates communications inside companies. Interestingly, the founders are the people who founded Flywheel and Median, two previous very successful startups in Omaha, both of which have been sold to Texas companies and are doing pretty well. And then, Trenton, I want you to talk about this a little bit. Yesterday, you had the opportunity to tour that new building at Regency Landing that has been renovated. We're talking about Interstate 680 and Pacific Street.
Yeah, our friend Chris Nielsen gave me a tour of a really neat project. Access Commercial and Development are totally rejuvenating and changing up about 107th and Pacific Street to the north. There's an old gas station that's now vacant that is going to come down, and there'll be an entrance there that can come down into the development. It's several acres. They're going to keep the two main brick buildings and totally update them, keep some of the tenants, get some new restaurants in there. They're going to have a pickleball place. Well, next to Early Bird.
Early Bird, yeah, okay.
Okay, and there'll be a couple restaurants there. They'll probably have some upscale hotel, and they can do a couple 100,000 square feet of office. This is right next to the Ethan Allen development. It was developed by some friends of mine and good clients whose father, Jack Moritz, developed that, and that's where the hotel was, the original hotel, and very visible from Interstate 680. So that'll be a neat development. It'll take a few years to get completed, but it'll be worth it.
And finally, a Lincoln-based company known as Spreetail, tech company, which already has a pretty good presence in Omaha, near about 75th between Pacific and Center. They have an office there. They are going to add 200 new jobs in Omaha and take down another 35,000 square feet of office space. This was something that I thought was interesting. The press release from the company says Spreetail will continue to hire and bring talent to Nebraska in 2021, estimating more than 50 families will relocate to Nebraska for those jobs this year. And then another interesting thing they said, it said many people associate Spreetail as a Lincoln-only based company, but it has an Omaha office that is expanding, as we said, with about 40% of its workforce living in Omaha and continuing to grow the Omaha workforce. It said Spreetail is growing the team in Omaha. And one of the things, this was the thing I wanted to say. It said Spreetail has attracted new residents to the Omaha-Lincoln region and hired 25 plus people that came to this region from Boston, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. So there's a good relocation to Nebraska news right there.
We love that because it reminds me of Hay Needle, which started out as hammocks.com. They had basically a category killer, and it was hammocks.com, and their tagline was accomplish nothing. So I thought that was classic. But that merged into several channels, several websites combined into one, and that's what Spreetail kind of sounds like to me.
Silicon Prairie, baby. And that is your development news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. When we come back, we're going to bring on Patrick Sokol. He's the Nebraska office leader with Turner Construction, and talk about a lot of the amazing construction things that are happening, what Turner is doing here in the Omaha area. You don't want to miss any of this. You are listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to Grow Omaha, the only show that focuses on the growth and development of your favorite city and my favorite city. And we're glad that you have joined us. My name is Jeff Beal, sitting next to Trenton Magid, and we are with NAI NP Dodge. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing. Well, we want to introduce you to Patrick Sokol. He is the Nebraska office leader for Turner Construction, which is one of our sponsors here. They bring you the lightning round each and every week, which we know most of you consider your favorite part of the show. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here. I appreciate the invite, Jeff and Trenton, and the ability to talk some more about Turner. And I think there might be a lot of questions out there in the marketplace of exactly who Turner is still, and we want to continue to get the word out to everyone that is interested in Turner.
Well, we appreciate that. And when we look for people to sponsor the show, for companies to sponsor the show, we obviously want companies that we're proud of being associated with. And we started learning about Turner when the company came to town to build the Sarpy County data center, which is certainly not a small project.
Not a small project at all. And that the first phase of that's really starting to wrap up towards the end of the year here. 5 and 6 will start to be complete. So first part of 2022, and now the next phase is starting to spin up in Sarpy County as well. So that's going to be called Sarpy County Data Center 1 and 2.
Okay, and that's the part that's technically in the Springfield, Nebraska Center. Right?
It is in Springfield. Yep.
So you moved from the Papillion Data Center and expanded it to the Sarpy County Data Center.
Yes, Sarpy County. I think there's some branding and some
when it becomes the Nebraska. You guys,
the Nebraska Data Center,
will be well entrenched. You're already well entrenched, and even in worldwide, Turner has amazing projects, small and large. But even in Omaha, just in the last couple of years, it's grown exponentially.
It really, really has. I mean, in 18 and 19 placed a little over $300 million of volume. This year, right now, we're on track for about 135, and we have some other projects in the pipeline that really, hopefully, we'll find out about here in this next quarter or two. And so, we'll be roughly about 150, hopefully 175 million in volume this year if everything goes well for us.
So Turner opened up offices in a building that Jeff and I sold at auction many moons ago, and that is in the Mastercraft building downtown, about 13th and Nicholas. That's an interesting choice because it's really a organic startup. It's a really vibrant community down there. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's starting to become more vibrant with COVID. Everyone's in masks. We don't see as many people, or there isn't as many people down there. But, we wanted a place that we were next to other startups, something that had an innovative
geeky
slant
cool
to it, geeky cool. Wanted to be downtown. A lot of our offices across the country are downtown, integrated into metro areas. And then there is something for the airport, whether it's our clients nationally that are coming in or some of our other resources that are supporting Facebook and our other projects. It's just, adjacent to the airport, so it allows us all to co-locate downtown.
So Turner, is a very large construction company that works all over the world, based in New York. But tell us a little bit more about the organization internationally, and maybe and also what it's doing in Nebraska, or what the plans are in Nebraska.
Yeah, so, Turner overall is a multi-conglomerate organization of around 60 businesses that all tie up underneath a German company. But really here we're focused in the U.S., out of New York. We have 36 different business units around the country, continuing to look for other markets like Omaha. There and here in Omaha, we've been coming up into Omaha for over 30 years out of Kansas City and Denver. I really made a commitment to this market 4 years ago, brought me on a little over a year ago, others 2 years ago, so really starting to get out into the overall market, the community, beyond just the data center work. I think we could be labeled as a really big company that's coming into Omaha to only do data center work, so we're working hard to move away from that perception.
I'm intrigued, what is the Turner Dog Spot?
So the Turner Dog Spot, one thing with Turner is that we're heavy into innovation. We spend a lot of R&D money on innovation, and we really feel like that's where the future is going, to leverage things like Spot or AI and data to just do things more efficiently. Also, there's a considerable shortage of labor, and so Spot is a dog, autonomous, that can be programmed to go on site. Actually has a LiDAR scanner and other sensors on it, and it will walk around that site.
It's a robot.
It's a robot, and it'll ID items that aren't in line with the BIM model. And it'll, so it compares its scan to the BIM model, so we know where things are off.
I know what BIM model is, but explain it for the viewers.
Yeah, so just building information modeling. So everything is drawn in 3D in there. So where every single conduit, duct, stud needs to go, lighting, and so forth. So that dog compares the drawings to what's actually getting built. And then it also allows us to look at progress. So, where is the current project? A lot of clients are, the pay apps are going out to the architect's reviewing those, and the clients really want to know, where are we in this process? How far is my building along? So we can actually give them a real-time snapshot of this is exactly where your building's at.
That is amazing technology, and it reminds me of the comedian Stephen Wright when he said he spilled spot remover on his dog, and now he's gone.
No, he's gone. I'm not sure how they came up with that. There's actually no spots on the dog either, but it's pretty fascinating.
It's not a Dalmatian.
It's not a Dalmatian. No,
it's probably like a golden doodle to be hip or something like that.
So I have a 6-month-old golden doodle. Let me tell you, golden doodles have a lot more energy than Spot.
And they they eat clothing and all kinds of fun things. So be careful, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. But
Patrick, let's talk a little bit about the employment needs. You mentioned that earlier, and we hear so much about construction companies having a darn difficult time finding enough qualified people because the market is so busy. Exactly. How big of a problem is that, and what is Turner doing to try and grow the construction workforce in Omaha?
Yeah, so great question. There definitely is a huge need as Turner continues to grow into this next project, and we're bringing on additional projects in the Omaha area. We're casting out that need and understanding in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months what we need. And right now in Omaha, we have a need for 14. Des Moines, actually 44 staff. We're looking there. And then Kansas City has a great need. So from engineers to superintendents, project managers, schedulers, MEP field and office staff, really across the board to be able to keep up with the demand that we have. So one is getting on shows just like this and saying, hey, there is a need. So if you know someone that's interested, that might be an entry level up to a senior level, have them go on to turnerconstruction.com careers, fill out a profile, and Jake and HR here in Omaha will definitely reach out, try to understand the interest, and get you engaged. And then beyond that, we're really going out currently into high schools, community colleges, organizations, and promoting the trade. We're bringing those individuals that are interested out to our job sites. We're walking through those job sites with them. And then really to leverage the community even further, we're starting to work with and become more inclusive and look for, groups that are on a diversity slant where we can bring them in, start to educate them, and get them involved in our projects. So instead of looking for direct employees, we're really trying to educate a really diverse sector of Omaha, bring up their acuity level and understanding of construction, and get them involved in our projects as well. So it's a fun.
I think it's great how companies like Turner and others are starting at the high schools. I know Owen Industries, Paxton Veerling Steel have been instrumental in setting up a program at Westside High School for welding and different trades. And people don't realize that college isn't for everybody as well. I mean, sure, there's leadership programs at Turner and other places, but you can also make a heck of a living going into electrical work, going into welding, and the other trades that are sorely needed, and the projects that are up and coming in Omaha with Turner and everybody else, sorely needed.
Yeah, it's absolutely essential. I mean, Sarah Hansen, who's been on this show before and runs our civic and community department, she's been out to every single school, every community school. She's given the speeches, found kids who are really, really interested, brought them out to the job site, and continues to work every day on it. So we look to continue to invest in Omaha.
We have just 1 minute with Patrick Sokol left, Nebraska office leader for Turner Construction. I want to touch before we go about construction cost escalation, because we keep hearing everyone say, oh my goodness, there's such not only a shortage of labor, but a shortage of materials, which is having some upward pressure on construction costs. What's your response to that, and what's going on with all of that these days?
Yeah, no, there definitely is escalation. COVID didn't help with manufacturing slowing down, and then ultimately the distribution of those items, to job sites. We lived in a world where it was just in time. That's starting to change, where people are looking for more warehouse space and to be able to store materials. Glass and curtain wall anywhere from 4 to 12%, steel studs and steel 10%. PVC, copper, you just start going down the line, and then on top of that, labor is going up. So, with Turner, we've produced a Turner Cost Index now for roughly 85 years, and that benchmarks where costs are at on a quarterly basis. And we leverage all 46 of our offices across the country to reach out to trade partners. So here in Omaha, we have roughly about 375 trade partners. We reach out to a great percentage of those every month, have them reply back so we understand where and what costs might be going up, might be going down, the confidence of the market, maybe gives us a little insight into how people might bid as well. And then all of that funnels back up nationally for it. And so really that Turner Cost Index is in somewhat almost like a holy book for contractors and developers and others around the country. So we feel like we have our finger on the pulse of what could happen.
Well, and that yet another reason for companies to choose Turner for their construction projects because of that kind of expertise and deep knowledge and access to data that a lot of other companies just don't have. Patrick, thank you not only for doing this interview for us and bringing us up to speed with what's going on in the construction world, but we really appreciate your sponsorship of Grow Omaha. It's companies like yours that make this show possible, and we're proud to be associated with you.
Yeah, well, we love being a sponsor, and we look forward to continuing. So thank you both for the opportunity to be here.
Awesome. Patrick Sokol, Nebraska office leader for Turner. And we're going to take our middle of the show break. When we come back, we're going to bring on our colleague Jill Anderson, who is the new president of NP Dodge Residential Sales Division. She's going to bring us up to speed with this crazy hot housing market that we have here in Omaha and a few other things. You are listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And we're back thanks to D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge for bringing this show to you. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. And we are going to bring on our colleague Jill Anderson. She is the new president of NP Dodge Residential Sales. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. And you have taken over a couple months ago for Mike Reedman, who a lot of our listeners know. Mike would come on every quarter. And we're still probably going to bring Mike on for a guest co-host job every once in a while.
Sorry, Mike.
But anyway, Jill, and he is now president emeritus. But Jill, congratulations on the. You've been with NP Dodge though for a long time.
Yeah, started out with them as manager, moved to general manager, and now in president role. And I've been in real estate for over 20 years. Really aging myself.
You weren't there at the beginning in 1855, though.
No,
I don't
think
either
any
were
of us
we.
were. But yes.
NP Dodge was there, but not Nate.
Correct.
Okay. So at any rate, how many agents do we have in NP Dodge Residential Sales these days?
We're right around 425.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Good agent base, great agents. We're excited.
Are people still joining the residential real estate career field, given the craziness going on?
Yep, and I love the question. And on that note, we are always hiring. So if you're interested, reach out to us, reach out to me. We love to talk to people, get you into the career. There's never a bad time to join real estate because I think you're always going to learn something. You just have to have some motivation, and we will teach you how to do it.
Let's talk a little bit about this crazy red hot market. It's been just going bonkers for a couple of years now, but we hear things like houses becoming available and getting 20 offers before lunchtime, and agents not even bothering to put properties on the multiple listing service because it can go so fast. Tell us what's really happening right now.
Well, you know what, the things you're saying, some are true. It really goes back.
We try to do truth here on the show. I'm always true. Jeff is sometimes true.
We go back, let's look at the housing market in 08, 09, when we were coming out of the recession. We had high inventory. A lot of people were buying houses maybe that weren't in their price range that were affordable. So when we came out of that inventory, we actually from 10 years ago from where we are today had 89% more inventory than we do today. So what happened over those past 10 years was builders didn't build as much. Buyers were just sitting in their houses if they could, trying to catch up with some equity, which put us kind of to where we are today with a perfect storm of interest rates are low. That's fantastic. We were talking earlier, take advantage of those. Some decided, I'm going to just stay in my place, refi, maybe do some remodeling. But the ones that want to get out and move, they're kind of thinking, well, I want to take advantage of those low interest rates and possibly move up because our homes became our sanctuaries even more during the pandemic. We were working from home. Our kids were at home. We decided we couldn't go to public pools, things like that. So what could we do differently to our homes to add on to it to really make it our sanctuary is kind of then where people are like, well, I don't want to move. Well, then our housing market is in a shortage. So we're inventory shortage. People don't want to move. The pandemic obviously did not help. So back to your question of, yes, we are seeing some, price ranges. Certain price ranges are getting multiple crazy offers. What we're really advising people and, buyers, because they're getting worn out and they're getting depressed and they're like, gosh, I've written 5 offers. I haven't gotten something. Well, if you're looking up to, maybe your budget's up to, let's say, $300,000. Back when the inventory was high, you were probably looking at houses $310,000, $315,000. You should back it up now and be looking at houses $270,000, $285,000 to give yourself that upper hand to come in to expect you're going to be competing. Prices are going to escalate. If you want to win that offer, you probably better come in with some leverage to be able to buy up to your threshold.
I knew it was a hot market when I was going to get the mail and there was a little sandwich bag on my driveway with 2 rocks in it and a kind of a cardboard color picture of a family, husband, wife, 2 2 young kids, and a note saying, my wife just got a job at the local elementary school. By August, we'd love to live in your neighborhood. We'd like to have a nice backyard, and we'd love to buy your house. And
We'd love to tell all our friends that we live in Trenton Maggot's
my
house.
immediate response was, well, gee, if we can just sell this at a ridiculous price, then we can live out of our car for a while or go move in with my mom, which I don't think she would appreciate. But then immediately I thought, then we have to go buy a house that's too expensive. And so my sense is that that's what's slowing a lot of the home sales as well.
It's fear, like exactly what you said. It's that seller that's saying, I'd love to sell my house high, but where do I go? And to your point, if you have the opportunity, to make 2 moves, albeit move in with a family member, move in to an apartment, but the end goal is, you're still moving and taking advantage of a very low interest rate. So if you're moving up, more house, downsizing, it's still a great time. It's just finding some, a little curtailing of it to say, all right, I'm going to put my house on the market, but maybe it's subject to, when I get an offer, me finding suitable housing within a certain time frame. And those ideas are happening, but you hear it right now. Gosh, there's no inventory, so you go into fear mode, and you're like, where do I go? I'm not going to sell my house then. And realistically, we can't, have that fear, or nobody will ever put their house on the market.
Yeah, because it seems like you always have situations during times in which there's a lot of coverage or attention on an issue in which people feel like the issue is worse than it really was. It was kind of like in the early days of the pandemic, you almost started to think if you got on an airplane, you would drop dead. But then you realize, well, people are still traveling. Right. So sometimes the hype around it is scarier than the reality, even if the reality is difficult.
Correct.
So people have to be more stealth, get pre-approved,
Yes.
Work with their agents, and get their stuff together. From a sales perspective, you want your house to be ready for sale because it's such a fast market. Can you address the time that things stay on the market, but also how quick things get approved? And I mean, I'm sure there's like 1 hour approval time, for response period from sellers and stuff like that. Have you seen some very interesting and changing things that way?
Yeah. In any market, I'll always advise it's always a price war and a beauty contest. So you've got to have your house prepared, and you have to have it priced right. Then buyers, absolutely. You need to have financing lined up. If not, you've just coming in with a camel on your back, and they're going to go to the next offers without even giving you a chance. So strong qualified buyer, probably a strong earnest deposit down is going to give them, the seller being them, that they look at your offer more heavily. And just be prepared. Get an agent that's going to give you the good advice that you need.
That's a lot better than writing a long letter saying how handsome your family is and how much you need a house, because they want price, they want timeliness, and put yourself in the seller's shoes.
And with that, we are out of time. But if you want help with that price war and that beauty contest, NP Dodge has 400-some agents who are very willing, capable, and ready to help you out. Jill Anderson, appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you both.
And we'll have you back periodically just to kind of keep us up to date with the residential market.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
That's Jill Anderson, president of NP Dodge Residential Sales. We're going to take a quick last break of the show. When we come back, it's the lightning round by Turner Construction. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to Grow Omaha. This is the lightning round brought to you by Turner Construction. The moment that you've all been waiting for, in which we cover a lot of different stories in a very short period of time. Turner is building for the future. You just listened to Patrick Sokol, who is the head of the Nebraska office for Turner Construction, talking about how hard that company is working to build the construction labor force. Yeah, sure, that benefits Turner, but you know what? We really appreciate companies that are going the extra mile to create employment opportunities for Nebraskans. We want to grow this place. We want to attract more talented people. And in order to do that, we have to have companies like Turner that are actively developing folks and recruiting them from other places, telling young people what's possible, and getting them to pursue their career dreams. So as you heard, Turner Construction has got their office in downtown Omaha, and they can do things as big as the Papillion Sarpy County Data Center, but as small as something in an office office building for one of the many companies that are located here. So we appreciate Turner sponsoring the lightning round. Ribbon cutting yesterday for a new fire station on an empty lot at 3404 Q Street. It'll replace a concrete 1940s era station at 25th and L, which I think would be a great redevelopment opportunity. Have you seen that station, Trenton?
I haven't. I can't recall.
Okay, it's right there on the corner of 25th and L, and of course, one block over is the heart of Old South Omaha, which is a thriving commercial district, entertainment. And I think you could put some glass where those garage doors are, and it'd be like a cool restaurant or bar or something like that.
Are they tearing it down?
They said that the city is appraising it for a potential sale.
Okay.
So I think a great location for Trenton's Sports Bar and Deli. Isn't that
Absolutely.
what you always say?
Yeah.
Sports bar, something in Deli. You always do that. Trenton's fictitious businesses are always the such and such something in Deli. Lansky's has opened at 168th and Highway 370 in Gretna. A longtime local favorite, has existing locations at 50th and L, plus Bellevue and Council Bluffs. Lansky's, of course, pizza,
Sure.
Phillies. I've always liked Lansky's. I don't get there very often, but I like it. So I'll have to try out that 168th and 370. Speaking of Highway 370, Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh is under development northeast of 192nd and Highway 370 in Gretna. That corridor is going to blow up.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Hy-Vee's going to be an anchor there. I would not be surprised if they go there. The question is how long does it take them? Because sometimes they stretch it out, just like 180th and Pacific, but Hy-Vee definitely has a hold on the market.
I am in the mood for some Mexican food for lunch today, but unfortunately this new restaurant won't quite be open yet this afternoon. The former Old Chicago at 78th and Cass by the old Peony Park
Tower Plaza
is to become a Mexican restaurant known as Hacienda Real. It is from Lincoln. They have 2 locations there.
I think in that case you pronounce the H.
No, it's Hacienda Real. Didn't you take Spanish?
Oh, you never do? Okay.
How many years did you take Spanish in the West Side Public Schools?
My wife and camera person just
Christmas.
proved you right.
Yeah, it's pronounced the H in Hacienda. All right.
Hola, Jeff.
The concrete elevator stair tower is in place for a 6-story Union Bank office building at Heartwood Preserve, 144th and Dodge. Who says the office building is an endangered species?
They're growing.
That's true. People are building office buildings like crazy these days. The Swivel Apartments at 72nd Street, just north of Dodge, east of the crossroads, going vertical. Drove by this morning, and it looks like the second story is now framed out.
It's amazing. They're going to put that whole thing on a giant Lazy Susan. That's why they call it the swivel, right?
Very creative of you to come up with that, but they are putting it
Kind of like the Beef Baron that had the bar that went around in circles.
Kind of, but kind of not. They're actually putting it on a former furniture store that will, according to the developers and construction people, hopefully always stay in place.
We'll have to inquire with Julie over at J Development about why they call it the swivel.
Okay, Lake Livin is a massive multi-family development planned.
578 units.
Okay, planned for 168th and Fort, northwest corner. As you said, a lot of units.
Large.
Now, this is a medium-density multifamily residential district, multiple buildings. Looking at the renderings, looks like some of the buildings are 2 or 3, some of them are 4 stories. Big project.
Is that Lonergan Lake over there, I think?
It's one. No, it's the new.
Yeah.
It's the new lake, but Lonergan Lake is up north. Music's playing. We're out of time, and that's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
Thank you for listening to the Lightning Round by Turner Construction and the Whole Darn Show, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.